Hey everyone, how's it going?
Hey, yes.
Hope you're all doing good.
Hey, Snoot, do we have any delays today?
Should be good, right? Everything should be fine, right? Perfectly in sync.
All right, so we'll address the elephant in the closet. Elephant in the closet in the corner.
Yep.
The Jace in the closet. Who knows? I'm out of sync, I think, right? For people on my chat, on my stream, I think I'm out of sync. But on Snoot stream, I think everything is going to be fine.
Yeah. Or confirm chat.
Yeah, or please confirm.
Yeah, because...
Please check on... Which is bizarre, because he's streaming to me what you guys are seeing.
Yeah. It is very strange.
Yeah, no delay on Snoot. Yeah. So this is why we were late. We were trying to fix this a little bit. We couldn't. We're going to roll with it. The VOD will be Snoot's quality.
Yep.
So it'll be okay. Yeah.
Or just pop out Jace's chat and keep the stream going in the background. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what's up. We couldn't figure it out, and it's annoying because we spent all of Monday, not all of Monday, but we spent a fair bit of Monday and like verified that everything like works, and like yep, we finally solved most of the problems that we had last week. We were super like confident that like hell yeah, and we were like we don't need a lot of prep time, right? We can just boot it up like half an hour. We'll start half an hour early and we just set everything up.
It'll be fine. And instantly technical issue. Technical issue. Yeah.
Oh, is there a delay even on my stream? Wait, hold up.
Wait, no way. Small delay on Snoot. What, like, is it just me or is it like Snoot as well?
It looks kind of fun.
The code just gets nervous. That could be it.
No, it looks fine.
Okay.
I'm looking at the live thing. Yeah, I don't know what it is. We couldn't figure it out. It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. It doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
So we're gonna have to look into that, I guess. But anyways, welcome to this week's State of Dev. Week 2, episode 2, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, two in a row.
Yeah?
2 weeks in a row. Not bad, buddy. Right. Show's not dead yet.
Yeah, well, can we make 3? We'll see.
Oh, maybe.
Impossible. All right, we actually kind of have a juicy show today. Actually, we've got both like a bunch of state of dev stuff to talk about. So like what we're working on, because this is also for anyone who tuned in now and maybe we're last week who don't know what the hell's going on. This show is the only thing that we know for 100% certainty is that like this show is us talking about our games to a certain degree, and we might do some other stuff, which we'll do today as well.
At least a little bit. Yeah. At least, at the very least, a little bit.
Yeah. So today we're gonna talk about some stuff that we're working on for our games. We have some things to not really show, but we have some things to like discuss and talk. At least I have some stuff to like showcase and talk about in general.
I have a little bit to show you.
Yeah. And then we're gonna talk about the whole Itch.io situation later.
Yeah, which is interesting because like we've thought about like we would like to talk about like news stuff or whatever, and like we've thought about like there's different ways we can talk about news or research topics, because like it could be interesting just to research stuff, and I found researching this to be fun and interesting. But like there could be ways that Snoot and I do things where maybe one of us researches a bunch and then like educates the other on it, which could be interesting, right? And then like vice versa as well. In this case, we both chose to also research the same thing, and we figured we'll just talk about it a little bit and just sort of see what conclusions we came to ourselves. Discuss together, and then also see what chat thinks too, maybe. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting.
We'll see how it goes, and then we'll hang out with you as well and chat with you guys and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. So we're still sort of like figuring out the format of the show and the formula. We've gotten a lot of really nice comments and like suggestions actually on what to improve and what people are interested in hearing about. So that's very helpful. We do have a Reddit as well, if you guys didn't know. So if you want to post stuff there as well and give us feedback, feel free to do so, etc., etc.
Show feedback. Not just feedback there. It could also be like, if you want like suggestions or like topic suggestions and things like that, like, or just things to check out, please use the state of dev thing there. If maybe one of my mods could ping that, that could be sick.
Or if you just have something general that you want to like bring up with the class.
It'd be nice to grow that community, you know? Because we don't have a collected state of dev community, like not like a Discord one or something. At least not at the moment. But like we can maybe use the Reddit for now.
Very nice, very nice. But yeah, should we just jump into it, or do we have? We probably have a couple of like people to shout out first, maybe.
Yeah, we can maybe start with some of that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Do you want to go first?
I got nothing.
Okay. I got a resub from Dexa. Thank you very much for the tier 1, buddy. Also, Cheese says also resubbed as well. So in episode 22 months, Vamanos, they said. Thank you very much, folks, for the subs. Much appreciated. I also got a first channel point redemption from Little Dog. Congratulations, Little Dog. I do have someone request an accent. Now, this is something that I do on my stream, technically. We're technically in state of dev right now. What do you think?
Take it away. It's fun for the whole class.
It's do Snoots accent. They want me to do your accent. Okay. So if you could switch to your screen.
You can do it too.
And oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. Okay, get ready. Howdy, partner, my name's Snutt. I'm born and raised here in Sweden. That's right, Vamanos.
I broke the second you started.
Wow, that was not bad. I got the look and everything.
Damn.
Yeah, I shaved my head for that. I committed to the bit.
Holy shit. That's a good pudding, dude. First try,
First try, absolutely. No, that was perfectly. That's the only time I've been in sync this entire stream. It grew back fast. I glued it back.
Is this when you revealed that you were actually wearing a wig this entire time?
In fact, I was you this entire time. Yeah.
Dun. That's the scoop right there.
It's kind of weird, actually.
It is.
Yeah. And then I also got a plus to check and hydrate, so I'll do that as well. I won't do my channel point redemptions through this, but
we have a little bit of an exception at the start, though. It's a little bit of like just catching up with people and getting the hellos out of the way, so to speak.
Yeah. Bust the balls. That's us. That's our ship name. Yeah.
Yep. But let's dive into the meat.
Yeah, I think maybe you have more stuff you want to talk about. It sounded like there's a lot. I don't know how deep you're actually going to get into it today, but maybe I can do my stuff first.
I think it's better if you start because I can go on forever, basically.
Right.
So like we know.
Yeah, mine's shorter.
Yeah. So since we know roughly like where we want to move to the next segment, I think it's better if you start it off so that we can I can pad it out, so to speak.
Okie dokie pokey. Let me see here. It's a very weird thing to demonstrate. So it's not like a really visual thing that I can show. But I'm just going to talk about it anyway for the sake of like the show and giving people updates on like, well, what is it I actually did, right? Like last week, not what'll look good in a video or something, you know? So that's what I'm going to try shoot for here. So I'm gonna, if you give me a moment, I'm going to share my game here. Oh dear. Wait, no, that's over there. Whoopsies.
Your Jane.
Yep. My Jane.
Is it censored by the UK government? No, I think we're good.
My game, who knows? We'll see.
Oh, okay.
We'll see, huh?
All right.
Cannot confirm or deny.
Yeah, we were joking about it the other day. It was like, oh, we should have announced like, oh, can't release my game anymore, folks. Sorry. For unspecified reasons. Doesn't have to be related to anything ongoing right now. But just saying.
Okay. Sorry, folks. I'm just getting used to our setup. I'm going to switch to it now, which is... I think it's Jace presenting cams. This one, I think.
Yes. Nice.
Is the right one? Okay, sick.
Oh, we got the scoop right here. Jace's first game.
Yeah. So here's my little game so far. And I guess for those who haven't really seen it, like it's a top-down thing in a city, basically. Here's some vending machines that we worked on. Actually, during some dev streams, we did this. So here's some like vending machines that you can do, and variations. There's like reflections that like, yeah, anyway, I'm actually working on a video of those. But yeah, so there's that. But the thing that I worked on last week, first of all, the first 3 days was working with you on state of dev stuff. But then Thursday, Friday, I spent a lot of time reworking a core system to the game. So my game has a custom dialogue manager that I built and a custom cutscene system that I built. Those two things work really closely together. It also, the state of the game state of game, new show, folks. That is also heavily tied into those things as well, because like if the state of the game is a cutscene, that means I start ticking cutscene actions. So the way things work is that I create like a queue of cutscene actions, which can be dialogues or camera movements or moving, spawning, whatever whatever's necessary for the cutscene. And then if we're in the cutscene state, the cutscenes start ticking like every frame instead of the regular game ticking, where it takes your input and things like that. So that has been there for a very long time. But the work that I did was I added a new thing called memories, where you can reminisce memories. So here, I don't know about this UI. This is just some dummy shit, right? But basically, I can click this. I'll do this one. This is Ice Cream 2. Okay. And then you can reminisce a memory. So in my game, you'll be able to unlock memories. They can unlock at any... There's different times that they can unlock. And they can unlock at different game states. They can be triggered at certain game states. They can be entered while you're in different game states. And so the ability to move into a memory from any other game state was what I worked on. And then the memories working as they do was the other thing that I worked on. So here's a memory. You're going to see some dialogue. Now, this dialogue here is not the real dialogue from my game. I have previously on stream created a tool which took... that allowed people on stream to submit dummy dialogue text that while on stream I could pull from so that I don't spoil the story of my game. So this is like Lost TTY, a Twitch user saying, And so, well, I don't know. It's going to be random text. I don't know what's going to come out here. We'll see. So this is a cutscene within a memory playing. And then I can, all your base are belong to us. So if I pause here, I can skip this cutscene or I can exit the memory. Normally, if you're in a cutscene, you can only skip the cutscene. There's no memory to exit, so this is handled as well. And then hold my beer, chat's fanfic, there's Meza there. Hey dude, what's a prime sub? Yeah, anyone know what a prime sub is? Anyway, Dexath, fun fact, in the 1830s, tomato ketchup was sold as a medicine that could cure ailments like diarrhea, indigestion, and jaundice. That's crazy. I'm trying to get to a specific thing here. Yeah, so this is another thing. This was submitted by Pinoy Boy. This text here, this is some stuff about Final Fantasy X. But this was another thing that I worked on, was the ability to have a different type of dialogue that was more of like this internal monologue, basically. And that's what this is here. So this is support for fading the screen to black, playing an internal monologue, but also having helper functions for this in my code. So when I script these cutscenes, all I do is put in one line and this appears. In this way, it handles all the timing and all that kind of stuff for me. So it was a lot of that kind of work as well. And then from here, we'll see that, the internal monologue ends and then everything lines back and then we go back to normal. Now I can skip. Yeah. Now I could skip this cutscene. Now we can play it out to its exhaustion, or I could just skip it. And when I skip it, I am actually still in the memory and I'm moving around. Now we're in actual gameplay. This is me moving, right? But I'm not in real gameplay, so I'm not in the same game state as earlier. I'm in the memory game state. So if I press escape, I don't have the normal pause menu. I have an option to exit the memory. And that will take me back to wherever I was when I began reminiscing. So this could be in the middle of another cutscene. This could be standing anywhere else or at any other point. So it was the support of like being able to like load in some other level, handle all those appropriate game state stuff, trigger cutscenes, trigger gameplay, trigger other whatever, and then when we exit or the memory completes, I come back to wherever I was when I began reminiscing the memory. And so this stuff is like, again, there's nothing hard about any of this except for getting it together and making it all work nice together. And this was a pain, and I've been putting this off for so long, but it's a core feature to the game, and I'm so glad that it's working, and it works really, really nicely. Yeah. So that's my feature. Yeah.
It's very Inception-y, where it's like, I'm in a game I'm in a state within a state.
Yeah. And believe it or not, before this, I didn't have a game state stack. I just had a game state variable. And I think it's more common that you have like a stack with your game state, right? So you could pop and push that kind of thing to return back to stack. And I was like, I don't know if I really need it this time. And then I got to this point. I'm like, yeah, I think I need it now. So I added that as well. Yeah. Can you open memories inside memories? No. You can't open a memory inside of a memory.
That would be crazy. Unless that would be the real Inception.
Yeah, so you can record the memory of how you coded the memory system in case. You know what? That's what I'm doing right now, Aliana. We're recording my explanation for how this works. So in 5 months, when I have to open this again, I'll know what to come back to. Yeah. Okay.
True.
I'll go 2 people talking. Yeah. So what should we go back?
Because I can definitely see if you could like. So do you retain the other like main game state in memory while you're in this state, or is it like unloaded and you're like just managing it? Or
so I've actually demonstrated this before on I can do an MS Paint if you want. Explanation. That could be fun.
Do it.
Let me see here.
If your computer can handle MS Paint, that is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's chunky.
Okay, we're going to do presenting again. I think it has changed. Yep. Okay, so the way that I do it, and it's really nice. This is sort of how Godot works. It's pretty good. So in Godot, the way it works is that you have nodes, right? So you've got an entire scene, okay, and you've got like a node here. This is like the root or something, right? I have whatever. Yeah, I have a root, and then like in there you can have like a bunch of nodes, right? These are things, and so the way it works is whatever like this is attached to the root of the engine or game, whatever that's running right now, and then all of this stuff gets ticked, right? But what you can do in Godot is I could load in another level, which could be, say for example, the memory. Like it's the memory takes place in another level, right? So what I do is I asynchronously load in that level that's over here, and that's got its own root, right? It's a big tree here. And then what I just kind of do is I chop this part out and I move it down here. I grab this and I put this in here. And I just do that, right?
Okay.
and then now this is the tick, because this is the ticking place, right? This is what ticks. So this stuff doesn't tick anymore. And so then this just runs that level. And I've updated the game state, which is on the game manager, and all that sort of stuff is still there. And then when that's done and the memory's finished, I do all my transitions, fade out, and then I grab this and I move that out, and I grab this and I put it back. And then it just ticks as if nothing happened, basically.
That's pretty cool. It sounds like you really made the system with Godot's like game structure in mind.
Yeah, and I mean, I think so. Like it wasn't super intentional. Like it was just more that like I was just thinking, how could I do this? And it was the first thing that came to my mind whilst using Godot. I was like, well, I know that this is how the trees and stuff like that work. So it's the most immediate solution in my mind anyway to go to. Yeah. So, and it works really well.
Neat. Sorry, I was just checking the sync as well. All right. That's pretty cool. So that's state of your game. I think. Yep. Let me just update the little title bar. State of Snoots. So my game is, or maybe you want to give like, I saw a comment before, just a quick like, comment on like what type of game that is you're making.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the type of game that I'm making is like a top-down 2D pixel art game. It's going to largely be narrative based more than anything. There's like mini games too. There's like fishing. There's a karaoke system. So gonna gonna make some more of those things too, but largely it's effectively a story that you play. But there are other kinds of gameplay things that are loosely there too, for you to engage with. But I don't really say too much more than that. I don't really say what the story's about or anything just yet. It's one of those things that I think that I really think people will enjoy more when they play. And that idea really comes to me from, there was a friend of mine who, like, I was going to tell him about I told him about what the story was. And his reaction was just kind of like, I honestly just wish you didn't tell me. I just wish I would have experienced that for myself. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I never considered that some people might not want to hear about it. So I don't really share it anymore. Yeah, too much.
Yeah. I have this sort of the same feeling because I know the whole gist of the game, or I think I know the ending. At least when you told me like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it's just, I'm sort of in the same boat. But it's all about the journey, man.
It is. It is.
All right. So let's jump over to what I've been working on this week. So I've also been I spent a lot of time on fixing some of the stuff for the show as well. And working on like figuring out some editing shit. But I also had a really productive weekend, which don't work on weekends, folks. But I just felt like I've been in this situation now where I've been like putting my game off so many times now, working on my game. I just like, I find ways to just procrastinate all the time. So like whether it's, working on the show or tweaking the show and doing stuff for that, or, just random other shit. So I right now I'm in this headspace of like, I just need to fucking focus on my game, dude. And oh boy, I can get so much done when I focus. So what I've been working on specifically is I've been working on, so my game is I won't show my game, but I will show like basically what I've done and demonstrate it in Unreal Engine. So my game is a first person game. And in my game, it's really important that you see not only your hands, which are typical in like first person games, obviously, but I also wanted to see the body of your character, because there's a little bit of like, jumping mechanics in the game that is really, really important, that, you sort of know where you are in the world and like how things are spaced and stuff. And this is not anything revolutionary or anything like that, being able to see your character from like a true, sometimes it's referred to as like true first person perspective, where you actually see your body and all that shit. But it's not actually true first person. And I'm going to demonstrate a little bit why, how it works behind the scene. So if I switch to my screen, and it's switched, cool. So this is a sample project that Unreal has given up. I actually looked a lot in the sample project, but because this project sort of solves the problem that I've been looking into, and it's kind of nice that Epic have these like sample projects that like you can just download and see like, oh, here's an implementation of a full like, in this example, it's just straight up like a first person. Let me just boot up one of the other ones. They have like different levels here. I'm going to boot up the horror level. So they just have these like first person examples. So like you can play the game, you can like, walk around and interact with it. And like they made this little scene here with like some horror lighting, like, ooh, look at all these particles and the particle systems. And it's just really nice to be able to like just, go outside and just be like, how does this work? And just look in the editor and see like, oh, this is a spotlight element thing here. Like, here's how this is built. Here's the, the actor itself. And like, here's how it's set up. It's got the spotlight and everything so like, these are very, very useful when you're just like trying to figure out different solutions. And in Unreal Engine 5.6 specifically, one thing that I'm really, really interested in with my game is that in Unreal Engine 5.6, they upgraded how something called control rig works. And control rig is basically like when you have, let me see if I can actually find the character, first person character. So this is what it looks like in the engine. This is a bit of a spoiler.
Oh my God.
What?
Spoilers.
Yeah, no, actually, maybe we can talk about this now. So the way it actually works a lot in Unreal Engine is like when you have like a first person perspective, like the mesh that you see here is not actually what like if this was a multiplayer game, this is not the mesh that other people would see. Like you see one perspective, you see one mesh of your character, and then you have other people see a different mesh. And the reason for that is because you need to do so many funky deformations on the mesh for it to make sense in first person. And we'll talk about that later. So this is basically, it's here in the editor is rendering both at the same time. So this is both the first person mesh and the third person mesh. But the thing that I'm looking into is called Control Rig. And let me just boot up the shooter level here. So here's another test scene they have where you can like pick up a gun and you like shoot this little bullet. Whoa, what the shit happened there?
Whoa.
He just flew away. So yeah, here's a first person shooter example, kind of. What the fists are all over the place. So it's like you can walk
they look
around.
fine to me, dude. Yeah, they look fine to me.
You can walk around, you can like shoot, blah blah blah, shoot this little rubber bullets kind of thingy. And they also have these cool things where like when you walk into walls, it will move the hand away so it won't like clip into the wall. In this version of Unreal Engine, it also added so it's much easier to like do projection rendering so that like everything that's rendered, like guns and hands and stuff, will always be rendered in front of everything else in the scene. So like even if I'm clipping through, actually they're doing a pretty good job at making sure that it doesn't actually happen. But even if I were clipping through the wall, from this perspective, you wouldn't actually see that clipping happening. And this is something that's common in games. Okay. This happens all the time. And here's the good example of what I was talking about before, where this is a multiplayer example. So you can play this single player multiplayer, and you have a first person mesh and you have a third person mesh, and they look a bit different, right? It might not be as obvious. Let me hide the third person mesh. Where is it? Hide in.
This is always fun to see.
Yeah.
I remember the Satisfactory one, right?
Yeah. So this is what the first person mesh looks like. It kind of looks a bit wonky. The shoulders are like super offset. The arms are like way in front of him.
I didn't see anything wrong.
Yeah. And like the neck is all puffed up.
Bruh's had a rough chiropractic adjustment.
So yeah, this is typically what the mesh looks like, and it's the same thing in Satisfactory. We remove the head completely in Satisfactory. Actually, we just scaled the head down and put it inside the body, or something like that, and then the shoulders are lifted up.
We need a posture check.
Exactly. Okay. Just because of like in this example, it doesn't handle it that well, but like it's just so that like when you aim down and make sure that it doesn't clip through the.
Snoot, you can't do this,
dude.
All right, so we made it to 2 shows. That's pretty good.
Yeah, this is it. This is the end of it. So yeah, this is basically how it works behind the scene. And one thing that's really cool in Unreal Engine 5.6 specifically is that they have the system. So in order for you to render a character or like render animations and characters, you have like the skeleton, which is deciding like how the mesh should behave. So like where the arms are and stuff like that. So when you're animating just the skeleton, and then the rest of the mesh will fit to it. And back in the day, or how it used to be, is just like you had to make animations that fit your first person perspective. So like sometimes you'd animate so that like they had this like wonky like shape in mind when you made the animations. Sometimes you just animate the arms and then you just move everything away and then all you see are arms and you animate that. But in this version, let me see if I can find this. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's this one. But in this version, they have something called Control Rig, which is basically like it's like a system on top of the animation system. So it's like a little bit of a extra thing. So what it does, it makes it so that you can take an animation and like have it run through your animation state machine, and then you can apply a separate pass of like logic on top of it. So what they're doing here is, let me see if I can boot up the actual rig. So this is like the additional system on top of it. So they make like little control points, and those have direct effect on the skeleton, which is why they get this like wonky, can move the thing around.
Oh yeah.
So what they made is they have like this aiming point. So like where you move this is where the hands will actually aim. this is also something that games typically try to hide, because when you have like a first-person shooter, the gun isn't actually where the bullet is spawning from. Like the effect can spawn from the gun, but like the actual bullet is always coming from your camera perspective, right? Because if you're aiming,
that's what you're aiming with. Yeah,
exactly. Like if you're aiming at something and you shoot, you like the perspective won't make sense from the gun's perspective, so it will miss. Some games actually do have it so that the bullet comes from the gun, and they just do their best to try to align them, but there's a lot of really funky things that can happen from that. But most games do the thing where you aim from the camera and you shoot from the camera. There's a really good example of this in Hitman, which is a third-person game, but the bullets are always coming from your perspective where you're looking. So if you, in Hitman, let me also pull up Paint. There's a really funny circumstance in Hitman where if your character is like this and he has his gun out and he's aiming down there, and there's like a lamppost in front of the character, right? He's like standing here. If you're aiming at something that's supposed to be like in his line of sight and it's like behind the lamppost, the bullet will hit the lamppost. So like, because it's from camera view. So basically the bullet will like travel from behind him and hit the lamppost. It's really funky. So this tool basically just makes it a lot more seamless to be able to like make control points and you know, be able to adjust it. And in my case, for my game, I also want to get rid of like, because I have the camera actually attached to the skeleton as well, so I can get like proper, there's certain animations in my game where when the character like lands, it will make like an animation where like, oh, landing, and it's like a whole thing. And I want the camera to be very like, you know, in line with the character and like get all the camera shake and all that stuff, but I don't want the camera shake in the entire game. So what I do in my game is I actually have the camera attached to a skeleton part, and then I just have the skeleton part hover. So when you're running around, the skeleton will, like the head will stick in the same place, which means that you get this smooth movement, right? That camera isn't jogging up and down. It's like very fluent, and I think that's how most people prefer playing these games, where like you're not getting this like head bobble constantly.
I don't know. I like to feel like I'm on a roller coaster the entire way.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
Keep me on the edge.
Well, I don't like it. So it was really important for me to fix this. And this is something that I spent the week just basically working on.
Get him.
and fixing, basically. So yeah, that's basically what I did this week. I basically re-implemented this, but for my game, basically.
Cool.
Yes, sir. Questions? This will all be on the test, by the way, Chad.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this something that like, is it in a shape right now that you think you're gonna have to go back and rework this particular system some more, or
Probably.
is it like?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple of like instances where I noticed that the animation like doesn't fit this, like most of the animation work. But I've also noticed a couple of cases where like I do need to make some tweaks to make this look better from like a first person perspective.
Right.
And the other thing that I'm also like investigating is I actually kind of want to look into actually using Control Rig to animate everything in my game, because Control Rig also have like ways to, you know, you can set up the mesh and use the Control Rig that you've established for the character, and then you can like animate all the bones and make all the animations, which you typically need to do in like Blender or Maya or something, which is like a third party software. But it's just so nice to have everything in one place and just like work on the animations, export them inside the engine, and know that they will look.
That's nice.
Yeah,
because I was thinking that thing, because like those control things I remember that they were a thing that people either did do or used to do in 3D modeling applications, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but now you don't have to do the weird export step anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. You can, but like I just feel like I've seen other developers just basically do all animations in Unreal Engine. And in this update specifically, they've upgraded a lot of the tools. So there used to be like layering tools that didn't exist in Control Rig before, where, you know, if you have like a running animation and you want to like add that and then also animate like hand movement on top of it and bake that into one animation, that wasn't really possible if you were animating in the sequencer before, but now you actually can.
Okay.
So like, and it's also like, I've done a lot of work with Control Rig with Satisfactory, like all the, like whenever we needed to do custom animations or whatever, it was just so nice to do it in Engine. And, you know, when I just did stupid clips for Satisfactory, it was very easy. So like, I'm quite like adept at using control rig and those tools in the sequencer specifically. So I'm also just like, fuck it, why not just do everything in sequencer?
Fair enough.
But yeah, I still haven't fully figured out my like pipeline, or whatever you call it, like my art. I still haven't touched art to any capacity in my game. I've just been doing like functionality and and I guess I've at this point kind of figured out that I will probably need to use the mannequin mesh, which is the default mesh, default skeleton in Unreal Engine. So when I implement my own characters, I will probably need to use the skeleton from Unreal Engine. And the reason why you would want to do that is because then you get access to like all the animations that Epic have given everyone for free, and like all the animations that exist on like other tools that are just given away.
Well, it's fairly like standard humanoid, right? Like should be okay. Yeah.
Satisfactory uses it as well. Like Satisfactory uses a default mannequin skeleton as well. But it has its downside. It also means that you can't really make like custom bones to it if you need them. It's also quite complex. It's a complex skeleton, so like I probably won't need all the bones that exist with it, and there might be problems having some bones that I don't need, and they might interfere with some other animations. I don't know. So this is still like a little bit of like stuff that I need to figure out. But I'm really happy with the state of the character movement and like the how perspective works in my game right now.
Cool.
So. And that's from like very little. I know that some of this stuff takes a long time to tweak and make it look right, and it already is in a really good state for me, which is
that's really good actually.
Yeah, and I think that's mainly just because Unreal Engine has sort of.
I was just thinking that like those kind of controllers are. You would think it's like, oh, that stuff you just get sorted right away because it's like it's the most basic thing. It's just your movement, whatever. It's just your camera, and it's true. It's like it's the most foundational thing, but that's also part of the reason why it needs to be so perfect as well.
Yeah.
So to have such good resources at your disposal is like, yeah, I could see the benefit.
Yeah. And there's also like a point in where, you know, if you do make a game where it fits in the mold of how Epic have made it in Unreal Engine, it also makes it more seamless. But that also means that you need to fit that mold or whatever. So like if I do use the skeleton in Unreal Engine, you know, I have to deal with the kinks that come with that, so to speak. And be okay with it.
Cool. What, do you know? Can you say what you're planning on working on next?
Probably working on equipment and like tools that you will use in the game. Because everything is just hard coded right now, and I need to make like a system that manages. You know, when you equip something, it puts you in this like state where now you can use this tool to do this thing, and if I equip another tool, it puts you in the state to like now you can do this thing. So that's literally what I was working on today. And I got so bored of it at the end of the day. So I just started scrolling Twitter the last like hour.
But doesn't it feel like, I feel like, you know, you sort of alluded to this earlier. I know we have other things to talk about, but this came to my mind. Like when you have, as a solo dev who's also trying to do like other things, partly to stay afloat, partly just because you're involved in other things, like you've got your stream things, you've got some, you know, work stuff as well. Don't you find like, you know, you're saying you run out of time to work on stuff, or you even procrastinate because the very little time you have to work on your game, it's like shit that you really don't want to get into right now, you know? That's something that I definitely notice too. But do you ever find that the times when you sit down and finally get to work in your game to be the best times?
Yeah.
Like to me, I'm like, finally I get to relax with my game, like kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, it is, especially when I know what I'm doing as well. Like I know that I can just jump into this thing. Like the thing that I hate the most, and I think this is just like the fact that I have such a hard time keeping track of one thing and another. It's like whenever I finish a task and I'm about to like, all right, let's jump to the next thing. If it's not like a super duper easy task, I'm just like, oh, and I just like start rolling and start scrolling my fucking phone, and I'm like, all right, let's get into it. All right, and I start looking at the code like, okay, I need to, I need to make a class. I get to recompile the end, and then I start scrolling my phone again. Like, I hate that. But whenever I'm like actually into a problem, and like even if when I get like hyper obsessed about an issue, like that's when I'm like getting that flow. I love that. That's so nice.
To me, it's if I know what I'm gonna do, like if I've like ruminated enough on a problem or how I want to approach something, and I've got a clear direction, I can hit the ground fucking running. Like it's no problem at all. I'm not afraid. There's no procrastination. I'm enjoying it from the second I start, even before I start. But if so, this like memory thing, for example, I was like, I tried for weeks to solve it in my head first, because I was so afraid of the mess it was going to create if I dove in. It ended up not being so bad, but yeah, that was just one of those examples. Another example is like level design. Oh God, that is hard. That is hard to get any motivation, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So like, it just sometimes it doesn't feel great to do. But yeah.
It's funny, Andy mentioned like every time with UI. That's actually something that I'm also working on right now, and I hate that part. It's like I had such a clear vision, like this is how it's gonna work. The UI is gonna work, and now I'm like, I'm not so sure actually if this is good. And now I'm in this phase where like anything I implement right now with UI, I probably will change, because I'm gonna run into like things that I don't like, or realizing that this was not the best way to do it, and that journey is like a little bit annoying right now, because I just want to like focus on adding features and getting to the point where I can start making art. So it is easier in Unreal Engine to make UI than most other engines, but it's still a fucking hassle, and it's so many steps needed to just display stuff.
Yeah. But then you think you've solved it in your head. You find out you knew nothing about the task when you start. Yeah. That's a mood too, actually. Yeah. You know what? You're fucked no matter what. Just start. That's it. Just sit down and start typing.
Yeah, I'm really trying to embrace the just make it and then fix it later mentality. It's really hard. I think this is a programmer thing too, where like you think of a problem and you think of like, oh, I can make this amazing system. Yeah.
As well.
And I gotta make a system that's really robust and like super reliable. I'm really trying to not focus too much about that, because then it just spends like, I spend a week making like an inventory system or something, and then it's like super robust and good, but I could have spent every day.
Then your requirements change later, and then you have to redo it because your assumptions that you had in the beginning didn't even apply anymore.
Yeah. There's some fear about refactoring always in the back of your head. That's like, oh, but if I don't do it right, then I'm gonna need to refactor, and it's really hard to know when it's worth it or not to keep going, or just make it right the first time, or I think I think in my case I just need to get stuff down and then fix it later.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the way to go, because at the end of the day, I think games are held together with duct tape anyway. So like, what are you striving for really? Just got to get started. It's the only way to actually get something done, I think. Yeah. In my opinion.
Over-engineer in the beginning, that way you'll never get anything done. It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But that's basically state of dev for both our games. And we'll see. This week we had some juicy things to show off. It might not be this case every week. We'll see.
Sometimes it might just be like basic shit, and then that's fine, right? Because that's also how it is sometimes. So. And
there might also be weeks where one of us doesn't have time to do anything.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
Refactor schmactor, true. All right. So, we had a major topic, or a main topic, that we wanted to discuss today that Snutt and I went and did some research about, and that is the itch.io Steam. I keep forgetting their name. Is it Collective Shout?
Yeah, it's Collective Shout.
Potentially that situation, right? Like, because you brought up a very good point earlier. But that whole thing. So I think the first thing we should do is just set the stage and just briefly the event for those who don't know.
Because also one step back, I think we're gonna look in. So for the show, we might have this. I can't remember what we're thinking of calling this, but like some kind of like news segment, or like something topical. Do you remember what we called it?
news o'clock.
Yeah. Well, you guys probably get the
news.
gist. Like just talking about something topical or talking about something that you guys bring up, or And we were just looking at this itch.io thing, and we were just like, I mean, maybe we could talk about this. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So this
part of me was like, this is kind of fire for a second episode, but you want
yeah.
like, all right, we'll just YOLO. We'll see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe this really will be the last episode.
I mean, we'll see.
Who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's set the stage, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the situation is basically a bunch of games have been removed from Steam and itch.io. And on Itch's case, I think it was all games tagged with NSFW, not safe for work. And Steam's case, I think it was, I don't think it was all, but I think the games that were removed were not safe for work games, is my understanding on the Steam's front. And people are like, what the hell's going on there? And it seems, or some of the connections that people are drawing, it seems that there was an activist group in Australia who claim that they were responsible for making payment processors put up new standards that the stores had to adhere to, and that caused the stores to take those games down, basically. That's the situation. So I'm a little... I dance around the words a little because I think like when I first heard this news, it was all porn games are being removed. And I don't think that that's necessarily, but then when I looked into it, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it was the immediate case with Itch, but it was as a precaution because they weren't sure what these payment processor rules were now, right? And that they needed to sort of like audit the situation and then reinstate stuff. And in the case of Steam, my understanding is it was not all games. It was just games that were tagged with like rape, incest shit, right?
Yeah.
It was like really bad. That's my understanding of it, right? So as I started researching, it sort of seemed to me that the first immediate news that I heard was not always necessarily correct. But I was like looking into it more. I don't know. I've been talking. Do you want to talk a bit?
Yeah, exactly. It's like from a surface level, it seemed just like, all the poor games on Steam are gone, and like the same thing with itch.io, and there's so many like different layers to this, which you'd probably be impossible to get into all these like different aspects as like what this actually means, because it involves a lot of stuff. It's not just like the fact that it's a payment processor being able to tell a platform that like you're not allowed to do this on your platform. If you continue doing it, then you won't be able to use our services. It's like a layer of like service providers that are like stripping like the availability of service or whatever.
The other thing there as well is like there's some parts to this. There are problematic parts to this whole situation, in my opinion, from right, obviously. But there's some of it that like I think a lot of folks see as a new problematic thing that was always a problem or was always there to begin with. So I think the payment processor one, for example, is interesting. So so Steam updated their terms saying that they have to. There was another thing. What does it say? They had to content that may violate rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet network providers, in particular, certain kinds of adult content like are not allowed, right? But like the fact that they added this rule thing that it's like, well, they have to adhere to the payment processor stuff, to me is not really a new rule. I think that they were always at the whim of payment processors anyway, just by the structure of things, right? Like whether they had a rule added or not, if a payment processor didn't like something Steam was doing and said, hey, we're out, like they're always at the whim of that, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean there isn't an issue here to discuss. But I think that particular point, to me, if I'm just narrowing in on that point, I'm kind of like, yeah, I mean, that was always the case. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, exactly. It is touching that subject of like, we are using services and they're providing a service, and they are also in turn using other services. So like there are certain degrees where I feel like it kind of makes sense that they are doing something like this, especially if, I mean, the argument is also that like they're not going after all of these games. I guess that's another like layer of this as well, where it's also seemingly that all these games are gone, but really what it's about is that they want to get explicit, very explicit games shouldn't be allowed. That's what it is. But in the process of this, they were this is the one thing I didn't quite fully get, because it sounded like when you read the itch statement that like, yeah, we got this demand and we don't know all games that like fall into this, so we had to remove everything first, so we can like go through them and like verify whether or not, you know, they fall into this category that these payment providers feel are, you know, going above what they deem to be like correct or maybe even illegal in some certain countries. I don't know. So like that whole process just happened from nowhere. They seemingly got very short notice that like you have to do this now. And now they're just like in the state of like investigating, figuring out like where do we draw the line? And obviously from that whole situation, you get these like issues where, for instance, IGDA made a big announcement, the Game Developers Association, blah, 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 where like you're infringing on freedom of speech. You know, this has a huge impact on development, not just like these developers specifically, but also development as a whole, game development as a whole, because what premise does this set for the rest of game development? Like reputational harm, you know, like if a game was removed that didn't violate whatever these like explicit rules that they had, you know, their reputation is harmed, the whole creative suppression, blah, blah, blah. So like, sure, there's a lot of that stuff too. And I guess it's just really hard for everyone to be transparent here, because there's like two layers of this. It's right. There's like the layer between the payment providers and this that they have with Steam or itch.io, and then they have that like layer of transparency with everyone who's using their services. So it's a sticky situation.
It really is. It really is. And it is interesting because like you bring up like the itches statement as well, which there was a couple interesting things. So yeah. So there's something interesting in there that I thought was very telling, because I have a bit of a theory, right? and that is that when I looked into Collective Shout's, I guess, advocacy or whatever activism, what they were doing, at the end of the day, like what they did, from what I can see, and if they really were the catalyst for this, all they did was put out an open letter. And to me, there's part of me that says, before I can even get to a point whether I do or don't agree with them, I'm just like, they're allowed to put out an open letter. The strange thing to me was that the open letter came out on July 11th, and these changes on Steam took, I think it started being noticed or started taking effect on July 16th, which is like 5 days. I don't understand how in 5 days this open letter reaches major payment processors and gets to Steam, and all of that gets sorted out, discussed, and reasonable conclusions are made in 5 days. So to me, I start to think that this was a knee-jerk reaction from one or more of the payment processors for whatever reason. Because another thing to consider here is, let's just say, for example, let's invent a payment processor. It's called like Jace Card, okay? Let's just say, for example, it's huge. Everyone uses Jace Card, right? And Jace Card knee-jerk reacts to this, but Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, everyone else doesn't, right? But Jace Card does. And they enforce these rules. Even because Jace Card does it, Steam would have to take action because a large percentage of their user base uses Jace Card. And same with itch. Even if it wasn't the others. Because at the same time, I also think that you couldn't get all of those payment processes on the same page in 5 days either, right? It's crazy. So to me, it feels like one of them or two of them actually like knee-jerk reacted to this, and it put some like things in place, and then all of a sudden Valve and itch had to just quickly abide. And I think that this sort of shows in the way that they've reacted. And in itch's statement, they even said something about that this situation developed very rapidly, and that they're now looking into things, seeing which games, doing another audit, seeing which games they can reinstate, whatever. And they're also thinking of adding a option for the developers to choose which payment processors will allow their game, which makes me think not all the payment processors are on the same page. Of course they couldn't be, because if the series of events is correct, that is, that it was a reaction to the open letter, then like how can they be, right?
Yeah.
Is sort of how I interpret the situation. So to me, honestly, I think that Steam and itch are doing what they have to do. I don't think they have much of a choice of anything, because if there's a major payment processor that's threatening pulling out, that means all games are screwed on their platforms that use that payment processor, right? And so they have to act. They have to do something immediately to appease that, to get it going, and then they can try and settle when the dust falls and try and find like a good solution. And that's what itch is doing. They got rid of everything so that they could comply, and then they're trying to find a solution that works better, which is like, that should have been done first if they were given time, but there seems to have been no time given. So on that side, I don't think they're necessarily doing anything wrong, because I think maybe they have to, or they'll have to find another solution later. And there's even part of me that, again, I don't even know enough about Collective Shout to say whether they're good, bad, or not. Before I can even get to the point of whether or not I agree with them or not, they're an activist group who put out an open letter. They're allowed to do that. They are allowed to do that. Even if you disagree with them, they're allowed to do it. But whether or not payment processors just buckle in 5 days, that's a different story, right? So to me, I'm like, who buckled exactly? That's what happens in my mind, right? That's where I'm at with my research.
There's also a part of me that's like a little bit of paranoid, or what's the like the tinfoil hat.
Right. Conspiracy.
Yeah, it's like, was it actually Collective Shout that had this, or did they just put out a public statement and just claiming ownership of the situation?
And it's a coincidence. That's entirely possible.
Yeah, I mean, or is there something else
but
like
who knows?
Going on with how
because they have a track record of trying to take games out, like GTA 5 and Detroit Become Human. I mean, they have tried to do that.
Yeah.
They did get GTA 5 removed from stores in Australia back in 2014.
So
and just one comment that I want to address real quick. So don't those same payment processors allow memberships on adult websites? Why is this focus on Steam? So I don't think the focus. The other thing that gets spouted a lot is that it's not safe for work content that's getting banned. In the beginning, like what I was saying, from my research, what I can see is, yes, it's all not safe for work content from itch, not because that's how it will be, but that's a safety precaution, which they will then like remedy over time when they try and figure out what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Steam, again, I think there's probably been a wider net that was cast, and then things get reinstated again. But the target, allegedly, unless it becomes, further and further, like unless people keep pushing further and further. But at this point in time, the apparent goal is very, very specific games that have very, very specific content, like really extreme stuff like rape and incest and all that kind of stuff, right? So like it's supposed to target that stuff. I don't think it's supposed to target Steam. I think they're like, we don't want people who sell that content, right? And you could take issue, I don't know, I don't take issue with it. But it's not just an anti-porn only, because porn is still allowed, and porn games on itch is still going to go back. It's just weird.
Yeah. It is, because it is like you say, the thing that is still a bit unclear to me is that like, what specifically was it that they were not okay with? It's like you mentioned like child abuse or that kind of stuff, or rape or whatever, and I can sort of like understand to a certain degree like why this collective doesn't want that type of content to exist out there or be able to like be sold or whatever. And it is, I always find it a little bit interesting with the discussion about free speech and that stuff, because it's like, I understand, I do believe there are certain things that fall under free speech, and certain things that like, maybe we should try and not allow this, because it's like the whole thing where like, you can't really tolerate intolerance and that stuff. But it's hard for me to say where the line is drawn, and clearly they've managed to figure out. So this is the thing that I'm curious about. Like, I wish I could know more about like what it is specifically that they don't want to be allowed, right? Like, what is the specifically that the payment providers say like, we don't want to see this? Because it also, whenever it comes to this stuff, when it's like, you know, all these like soft rules or whatever you want to call it, where like, we don't want this thing. Okay, but does this fall into this? Like, there's a lot of gray areas here, right? So like, what does the process look like for Steam and itch.io, where they have to like sit down and figure out what's okay and what's not? That's sort of like iffy to me.
Yeah.
And that's I guess why IGDA made this like whole statement on like censorship and the whole thing of delisting games and blah blah blah. Is that like, you know, where do we draw the line on what is censorship? How much should we allow payment processes to have this impact on this thing? Because like, if they do this for this specific thing, like, what's stopping them from doing the same thing for something that might be a lot less reasonable, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Or even as Mason says, it's like that, like, if this works now, but then they keep pushing and they just get a little more, you know? Yeah, exactly.
Because like, if there's no like, you know, because I could understand if it's a thing where like, oh, we agreed in the EU that this should be a thing, and then that puts pressure from like that level, and then that goes into the payment processes. But here it's like the middleman that's sort of like, no, we just decided, seemingly.
And very quickly. That's the part that's weird to me as well. It's just very quickly, without checking. Like, I don't know. In 5 days, did they check with the platform? Did they do any audit of the content itself to see like how rampant is this? That's like, I don't know. Like, I feel like someone just got spooked.
Yeah.
Odd One says they didn't just publish an open letter. They bombarded the payment process with over 1,000 calls and emails demanding it. Yeah, I'm not sure about the rest of their tactics. If that's the case, that's like pretty strong, maybe pretty bullying. At the same time, there's still part of me that says, again, whether I don't like it necessarily, but there's part of me that also says you're allowed to send 1,000 emails saying we don't like this thing. I mean, people do this all the time with larger companies where they're like, hey, we don't, you know, we're boycotting what you're doing or something like that. Yeah, like, you're allowed to say that, but yeah, to me, it's still like, then the company can still choose what they want to do at the end of the day. Then they can make a statement at the end of the day, one way or another, what they want to do. They can take the time to think through the problem and try and find a solution that works for the parties that are involved. But I don't know. I don't see that happened here, but I don't know. Yeah.
And it's also scary for like, because I think about this all the time. This is like a little bit of a tangent though, but like, you know, if you're a content creator, you're relying constantly on like the YouTube lords, that like the algorithm, or, you know, how they handle ads or whatever. You know, YouTube recently changed how now you're allowed to swear in the first 7 seconds of a video.
Oh,
yeah. Which
used to be 7 seconds that you
it was like you couldn't say fuck in the first 7 seconds. You wouldn't be allowed to get the full monetization package. For those of you who don't know, maybe a little bit behind the scenes, but when you publish a video on YouTube, there's a step when it comes to monetization where there's like a list of things that you can go through and like categorize, you know, like, is there explicit content in your YouTube, in your thumbnail? Yes or no? Like, is there swearing in the first 7 seconds? Do you say fuck in the first 7 seconds? Yes or no? Like, there's a checklist, and like, depending on what you fill in, like, that makes it so they can mediate, you know, certain advertisers don't want that, and certain don't care. So it kind of depends on what it is, what mediation you're getting. But it's sort of like, it reminds me a little bit of that thing where when you are a content creator and you're making stuff, you're at the hands of like the whim of YouTube. Like, if they just decide the next day, like, sorry, on Twitch, subs, you no longer get you get 20% now instead of the whatever it is, 50. Like, they just decided that, and it's like, what can I do? Like, I'm just a little guy. Like,
I'm just a little guy.
It's
Snoot over there. It's just a little guy.
Like, what am I gonna do? Like, oh, there goes my income. Like, so like, this is a Twitch and YouTube. I think are a little bit of a extreme case, but I do believe to a certain extent that like if you are a full-time content creator, it is a little bit of privilege. Like everything can just be taken away from you, and I think you sort of have to have that mindset a little bit to a certain degree. I think it sucks that that's the case, but that's how the platform works, unfortunately, right now. And it's very annoying to see the same sort of like thing happen on this other service that felt so much more reliable. You know, like Steam felt like such a like, oh, if you publish a game on Steam and you're doing right by what you're doing, you know, that will be a steady like investment of your time and like a steady like solution for you as a developer. So if you
but that still is the case actually, like with Steam though, right? So like again, I still don't think that has changed in this case even. So I know that like maybe some folks might think that okay, in my research here, there was a onboarding thingy that I found from Steam's whatever, and this is where the new rule was added. But there was a couple other rules that I noticed in there too, which was that rule number 7 is that content that is patently offensive or intended to shock or disgust viewers is this what you shouldn't publish on Steam. Okay, so there's many things like hate speech and all that kind of stuff, discrimination against groups based on ethnicity. Like this has always been there, right?
Yeah.
And so another one is like, the patently offensive or intended to shock or disgust viewers. I don't know if this means not allowed. It says shouldn't publish. But okay, so there's that. There's another one that says content that violates the laws of any jurisdiction in which will be available. Now, if we think of one thing that kicked all this off was back in April with that No Mercy game or something, which is what Collective Shout initially started to go for, and then they shifted to all or a wider net of games. But like that game, what Collective Shout had initially achieved. And they posted the letter from the Australian classification board. They posted the letter for that, and what they did achieve was they got it geo-blocked in Australia, and then that went on and it became blocked in the UK, and it also got blocked in Canada. But when it got blocked in Australia, they posted the letters, and they're going, "Yeah, we did it." And if you read the letter, it doesn't say that it was blocked because of its content. It was blocked because it hadn't been classified. And in Australia, all games must be classified in order to be sold. Now, if that game were to get classified and you look at the Australian classification boards, the way that they do stuff, it would, in my opinion, it would probably get an RC classification, which is refused classification, which is effectively no classification because it's so extreme. And then it would just be removed anyway because it had no classification. But like in this particular case, I don't think that game should have been there anyway.
Yeah.
In Australia, at least, right? And it could very well be that many of the games that they're removing are games that maybe shouldn't have been there anyway as well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. There's definitely an element of this where it's so unclear like what specifically has been removed, because like the things that were removed probably maybe it could have been the case where they probably should have been removed. Like they probably shouldn't have been published at all. And it reads as if like, oh, they're just banning everything now, just for the sake of this. So it's really hard to like get a grasp on like what the actual situation is when, you know, it's so fuzzy as to like what actually is being removed. I mean, obviously in itch.io's case, you know, everything, or they did a broad sweep so they can do that audit. So like it's really hard to get a grasp on like how this long term, like what this actually will mean.
I think what would be very, very interesting is knowing what these payment processor rules and standards are.
Yeah.
If we could ever find that out at some point, right? Because Steam doesn't specify it. I don't think Itch has necessarily specified it yet. But maybe when Itch does implement whatever the thing that they sort of alluded to in their post about which games will, you know, can be sold with what payment providers, if they do end up, implementing that or whatever, we might get a better look at like, well, which payment providers are blocking what kind of content, and then we might get a better picture. But that specific thing I think is like interesting too. Like that's a missing piece of the puzzle in my opinion.
Yeah, this is also like, it ties into the thing I mentioned before, where there's so many layers to this too, and it's so easy to like extrapolate different problems from this whole setup. Because like if we go back to the whole creative thing, where like, oh, does that mean that you can't ever express yourself, make a game where children get hurt? If there's a ruling that says like, oh, we don't want children to get hurt in games or whatever. So like, so then it becomes more of a gray area, and it becomes more of like different layers of playing into to each other.
And I think that was Collective Shout's position with Detroit Become Human, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, which like I really wouldn't agree with that rule. It's not because I love seeing children who get hurt, but like there are many stories that can be that for whatever reason can involve that, right? But the other thing is like the other interesting thing that I did see is that I saw on one of Cliff Shout's posts. Which one was it? I do have links. Oh, I don't want to waste time looking it up right now. It's let me see if I can find it. It was okay. I think it was the responding to gamers defense.
Was this?
I'll put the link in chat maybe.
Yeah.
In case people are interested in looking it up. That actually also has the letter from the Australian government in there about the classification. But in it, they say, they do acknowledge as well that like, that there's some things like certain kinds of like abuse or whatever that can take place as part of a story, right? It happens in film and TV all the time, right? And I personally think that it's something that can be depicted in games. Personally, I think it can be, right? As a tool to drive a narrative, to drive a story home, whatever. But the difference is like if you're glorifying it or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not comfortable with that personally. And they draw a distinction between those two things, okay? Which is cool, but then in their open letter, they kind of don't really specify that. They just kind of say, no, there's just games featuring, it just features the abuse. And then that's the end of it. So I don't know. I think to me that's a little inconsistent. Yeah.
There's a in one of the Rock Paper Shotgun articles. This was specifically about when they tried to take down the GTA 5. It's the same thing. Like Collective Shout tried to take out GTA 5. There's a really interesting paragraph, or there's a paragraph that I kind of just want to read out here. And it's like, and I'm quoting here, I don't think it can be disputed that violent sexualized media contributes to a culture of violent sexualization, but the extent of that contribution is difficult to identify and as such needs to be addressed case by case. Collective Shout so far have avoided going into details. They haven't disclosed which games they consider abhorrent or explained why these games in particular are in contravention of Steam's existing prohibition against games that promote hatred, violence, and discrimination based on gender or which exploit children in any way. And I think this is a pretty fair point here. It's like you say, or as Mason pointed out here as well, I think, where it's like, obviously that stuff is horrible, but like to think that any depiction of it means that it's like, automatically adds to it. It's very hard to say. Yep. And I think this is something that I feel like also, we ran into a lot when we're doing moderation. There's so many times where people are like technically not breaking the rules, but, it's not healthy in communities to have like those type of discussions. And, but that's not to say that they are not allowed to have like those ideals or whatever. I don't know. It's there's so many layers to this, like I said before.
Yeah. I think one thing that I want to make just sort of like a bit clear again is my position on Collective Shout again is through my research, I didn't even get to the point where me looking too far back on their track record, and I did see some stuff on their track record, right? I did see what they did with GTA and Detroit Become Human and things like that, right? But this situation to me, what got stuck in my brain was like they were irrelevant to it, because it could have been any activist group. It was the fact that that's how it was to me. So like even if I were to go and research them more and I came out like hardcore black and white pro or anti collective shout, it wouldn't change to me the facts of this situation, that like some group had some feelings about something, which is fine, brought it up to payment processors, hounded them, and then everything changed. like another group could do it tomorrow about something else. That's where, to me, that's the panic area to me. It never had to be them, in my opinion. And the fact that it happened at all is very, very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Troubling.
But I guess we'll see what happens. I think it's...
Indeed.
I mean, this happened... When did this start happening? This is July... this is like this week still.
Yeah, the letter came out 11th. I think things started going down 16th around.
Yeah. So it's still... You know, things happen quickly from the initial, seemingly.
Yeah.
So I'll be...
My hope is, if I'm to find hope, it's that Steam and itch can find ways to push back against this, but there was such an urgent and immediate action that needed to be taken so that all other devs didn't get fucked, that they can maybe backpedal from here or find, you know what I mean? Like if there was a payment provider, Jace Card again, they're like, do this now or tomorrow we're cutting everything. Then you do it now, and then you go, all right, that was insane. Is there anything we can do? And maybe you can work back from there. And so, like, who knows? Maybe they can do it. And Steam, Valve, they're powerful. You know, they're big. This ain't their first rodeo. I'm sure they can maybe figure something out. But maybe there was just like an immediate fire that had to be put out before they could do something. And that's my hope here.
Yeah.
And I hope that all devs that shouldn't have been affected, that are affected, I hope that things get righted. Yeah.
Yes. Did Epic have any issues?
They don't. Do they have with Epic? Can anyone just submit games to Epic yet?
Yeah, you can now.
No.
They added like self
Do they
publishing
allow?
tools.
Do they even allow any not safe for work games at all? Because like before you can get to the potentially problematic games, right? You would have to allow any not safe for work at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know actually. It might be the same thing with like Steam, you know, where they just like you can't upload these type of games. But I was under the impression that Epic were, or maybe they didn't allow it actually. I don't know for sure, but I vaguely remember that like Epic did take somewhat of a hard stance of like no safe for work content on Epic, and like the reason why I don't know if this is true actually. I should probably look this up. But the reason why I remember that was because that was like the one time where people were like, oh, pro Epic versus Valve, because Valve were like it's fine to this degree that we talked about before, right? Where you can't upload anything, but we do allow some of it. But then Epic did the thing where they allowed crypto games and Valve didn't, and then they lost that fucking the cred they got from that. If that's the case, I need to actually look this up.
Wait, while you look that up, I'm going to use our little feature here to highlight someone's comment because I think it's funny.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to try to do it. Which one is it? It's collect and show message.
Collect and show message.
See if this worked. Here we are. From Loud Tenor. I'm just glad that these ethical decisions are in the hands of private companies where a lot of money is involved.
It's so true. Yeah, Epic used to reject all adult games, and now they're making exceptions for NFTs. That was from 2023.
the two unrelated things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure you're reading an article or something.
Yeah. No. The reason why I say yeah is because this is such a like sensational news article that makes it like obviously they wrote it this way.
Okay.
Epic lifts ban on adult games. Yeah,
Okay.
it seems like they have opened the doors.
Now we can finally release our game, Snut.
Don't tell them that. It's too
Sorry,
soon.
shit. Sorry.
We said we weren't going
I
to
blanked. I'm sorry. I got really excited. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it'd be interesting to see if this impacted Epic at all, like or other storefronts. What storefronts are there? It's like Valve, itch.io, GOG. But GOG is GOG a? I always get so confused about GOG.
I don't know.
Is it a storefront or is it just like a landing page?
You buy stuff from GOG, no?
Maybe you do.
Store, no? Don't they even have a launcher or something?
That's what I mean. Like for the longest time, I thought GOG was just a launcher, so you could like combine your libraries into one place.
Oh, is that what it is?
Maybe. You can buy. Okay.
Or I thought so. Because I think there was like were we on like do we have sales there? Like
for Satisfactory?
Did we?
No.
No. Really?
No. You might be thinking of Humble Bundle. Satisfactory is on Humble Bundle, Valve, and Epic. Those three.
Can anyone confirm or deny that Satisfactory was ever on sale on GOG?
It's possible. Or that it was like one of those, because Humble Bundle is also a little bit strange because you're buying a Steam key on Humble Bundle or an Epic key on Humble Bundle, but it's still like its own storefront.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah.
But maybe they were.
Anyway, I'm thinking because there's still two things that we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we started a little later, so I think we should keep going past the 8 p.m. if you're good with that.
Yep.
I'm curious if there's any sort of comments or questions about the topic from chat, unless there's any other specific thing you want to talk about on the topic.
Yeah, I think.
Otherwise, we have two other segments where we want to give a recommendation. Mm-hmm. That would be fun. So we'll each have a recommendation of a game, and then there's going to be chat on chat. But maybe this can sort of be chat on chat where we talk a little bit about the topic, or we can move on. I don't know. Maybe people are sick of this topic.
This is a question here. Like, what is an adult game? And I think when they use these terms, adult game, it's like games that involve. Oh, what the hell? Sorry, I tried to copy and paste this message.
Snoots playing an adult game right now.
Yeah,
he's testing it.
I broke the thing. Okay, yeah. I need to fix this.
So I mean go on.
No, yeah. To my understanding is just adult games are those like, porn games are typically in this category. Adult games are like themes that have more, I was trying to remember what they call it in the PEGI thing, because PEGI have like this categorization where they categorize these games. So it's like games that focus on themes with like sexuality or I think drugs are also considered adult games. Themes that deal with specific type of violence. So like most violence is okay, but there's like sexual violence or violence that have like predatory type. I should probably look this up on PEGI's website because I think they have a really good definition of this.
Satisfactory was never sold there. What am I thinking of then?
I think. Are you not thinking of Humble?
I don't know.
Because I think it's PEGI that they have like the 18 plus rating, and they also have another one. Maybe that is I keep mixing these up because some of these have a lot more explicit definitions.
Schedule 1 is fucked then. No, but I don't think it's that you can't have adult games.
No, that's not the case at all. It's just like what falls under these like categories of games, because like there's like 3 or 4 main categorization systems in the world, and like Europe has their, it's PEGI, and they have like US have what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. Their organization, and then there's one in Japan, and there's one in Australia. There's one in I think there's a generic one in Asia as well that I can't remember what it's called. And there's like one more.
Oh, ESRB?
ESRB, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So like they all define these a little bit differently. So like what's to say what an adult game is in ESRB rating versus PEGI, those might not always align. And I think ESRB is a little bit more strict than PEGI. Because you can't always say that like, yeah, it is ESB that's a bar, because they have ESB rates it as like mature games where content is generally suited for ages 17 and up. You know, it may contain intense violence, blood and gore, sexual content, and or strong language. But they also have adults only, which is content suitable up for adults ages 18 and up, which may include prolonged scenes of intense violence, graphic sexual content, and or gambling with real currency. So like they do have these like different definitions. And I don't think PEGI has the same adult categorization as ESRB, but that I do think that they have their own like gambling definition.
I see. All I remember is when Left 4 Dead 2 came out, they censored the blood in Australia.
Yep.
But I was living in Japan at the time, so I got the uncensored version.
Yeah, and also, you know, certain countries have their own like laws as well. For instance, in Germany, you know, you can't have any Nazi depiction and stuff like that. And I think Sweden has something as well that's very specific, but I can't remember what it is. It might be gambling, because we have very strict gambling laws in Sweden. So like there was a time when like gotchas.
Is that why you can't even do? You can't even gamble channel points on Twitch.
Yeah. In Sweden, you can't. When you do like a gamba on Twitch, in Sweden, you can't gamble. It just shows up like yes or no. You can vote, but you can't put any channel points. It is so strict in Sweden as well. You can't have arcade machines anywhere. You have to have a gambling license to have arcade machines, even if you don't pay for the machine. What's like, you know, those like time splitters or whatever, like any arcade machine. Like if you have anything like that anywhere in your establishment, you have to pay a license for gambling, even if you don't put in quarters or if it's just free or whatever. And those licenses are hell expensive. So we just don't have arcades here in Sweden. It just doesn't exist until recently, where some managed to find some loophole or something. I'm not sure, but because I know some establishments have them, and I've asked about it, and they were like, "Yeah, it's okay."
Well, let's change the subject.
Yeah,
Jace is learning something right now. No one say anything about my arcade machine.
It's fine if you have it in your own home and shit like that. But if you can't like have a flipper at like a bar or something like that, then you suddenly need a gambling license.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Arcades are good though.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks because like arcades are like whenever I've been in the US, go to arcade hall, and I'm just like losing my mind over like, oh my God, this does not exist in Sweden.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like we've moved on a little. Do we want to, is there any, I guess let's do recommendations and then we'll do chat on chat. And anyone can ask questions about the previous topic or anything.
For sure.
Or any of the topics.
For sure.
You want to go first with your recommendation?
Yeah, so let's see if we have the same, because my recommendation is to play Star Rupture right now.
Okay.
It's like open play test this week. I played it yesterday on stream. I had a lot of fun. I think it's a pretty interesting game. Not for
bring it up Steam page maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we can do that. I got it.
Yep, I'm bringing up my one.
I got it. Whoops, went to the wrong one. It's funny how I go to Steam DB more than I go to actual Steam. But Star Rupture is basically like, if you liked Satisfactory, you probably know about Star Rupture, if we're gonna be honest here. But it's a factory building game with like a lot more like exploration elements to it. Actually, this has been my favorite part of this game, is all the exploration part. The factory like part of it, like there's a bunch of factory stuff in it, sure. But the thing that has interested me the most with this game has been the exploration part. Albeit, as some people mentioned in my stream yesterday, it is a lot. There's a lot of spiders in the game, so if you have arachnophobia, then like it's probably not for you. A lot of people were like, "Oh man, another game with spiders." Yep, it's another game with spiders. But it is fun to like walk around and explore, and there's a really cool like event in the game where like the planet explodes.
What? Spoilers.
That's like part of the survival elements of the game, and it's pretty interesting. It's obviously got this is obviously a public playtest or whatever, so it's got some kinks that they need to iron out. For instance, the biggest issue that I find in the game is that there's no motion blur. So like I kind of almost didn't play it yesterday because there was no motion blur in the game, but we powered through.
Are you memeing?
We powered through.
Are you memeing right now?
No, I'm memeing. I was just so fascinated that they just removed it completely, because most games have motion blur, but you can like turn it off.
Right.
But this game just straight up like, nope, not including it. There's no motion blur. It doesn't exist, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a strong stance.
Because I talked about this yesterday, and I have a hot take, but I genuinely don't. I generally disagree with the hate that motion blur gets from games. I generally think that games look much better with motion blur. There's a couple of exceptions where, depending on like how they've implemented motion blur, I agree that like it kind of like ruins it. And obviously it doesn't look great when it's like low frame rate or whatever. But like anything above 30 frames looks good with motion blur, in my opinion. But I know that I'm very alone in this opinion. I just feel like whenever I see footage or screenshots from games that don't have it, it just reminds me of like 90s games, you know, like where there's like no anti-aliasing thing. It just reminds me of that. It just feels more modern when you have motion blur in games, when they're done proper.
What's motion blur? Motion blur is like when you've had too much alcohol and everything is like really slow. It's like that, but it's in the game always.
Except it's not.
It's exactly like that.
It's just like stuff that's moving on screen have a little bit of blur that's based on the movements. And it just gives you like a sense of speed, I guess, is the thing.
Gotta go fast.
Fast.
Motion blur in racing games is good. Yeah, big fan of motion blur in racing games. But motion blur in first-person games, I think I get kind of... I mean, I'm not hard against it or anything like that. I just immediately picked up that you're, well, sort of memeing, at least, because I think it's kind of weird to be... Not weird. Weird's not the word. I think it would be rare to find someone who's like, oh yeah, I love motion blur.
Yeah.
So much.
No.
So much.
Yeah.
So I gotta have it. Game without motion blur, can't even play it. Unplayable. Like, yeah.
No, there's a lot of people that are like the other way around, where like if you can't turn off motion blur, they just don't want to play the game. And I it's not like I don't understand those people. Like I understand the argument that they make, but the thing that I always feel is that games always look better with motion blur. I understand that they like can invoke, you know, motion sickness and that stuff.
I can feel that. I see that.
And that's totally fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But when it comes to like just visually, I think games always look better when there's motion blur.
If it's light and
if it serves the purpose of what it's supposed to do, like if it's like you say, like if there's too much motion blur,
and it doesn't tank the performance or anything like much at all, like it can be all right.
Because it's one thing if you have like an object just moving slowly and it has like tons of motion blur, obviously that's not fine. Like it has to be like make sense with the, you know, the motion of the stuff. Like in cinematography, it's called like the shit. What's it called?
It's called the shit. Yeah.
The circle thing. 180 circle, whatever.
Yeah, Shutter. No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I see the option in Premiere.
Which is basically just we've just established in like cinema that like if you film with this type of frame rate and like you match this rule, you get this specific amount of motion blur, and that's fine. And I so long as like games follow that, I think it's good. Because you don't want to, because you can do the same thing when you're
shutter
filming.
angle.
Shutter angle, thank you. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, it's like there's different degrees of shutter angle. The one that's most typically used in movies is 180. And I'm not going to go into explaining why those numbers, because it goes back into the whole film era. It's like so fucking annoying to understand because it doesn't have any meaning anymore. But it's just basically that, like, it's just the amount of motion blur you get when you film, and it's based on the shutter speed and the that stuff. And you can have the same thing when you're filming. You can have too much motion blur. Like if you film at like 15 FPS or with shutter speed of 15 per second, that looks really strange. It looks very dreamy, but it's also very nauseating. And it's the same thing there. Like if you have too much of it, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, but that's my recommendation.
Cool. I will give y'all my recommendation. Oh, I love my recommendation. Big smile on my face. Here we are. It is.
Get one shot, Mom Spaghetti.
One shot, Mom Spaghetti. Hang on a second. One shot. This game is so great, everybody. You should all play it. Here's the link. Go get it. One Shot is a, look at this, overwhelmingly positive, 98%, 98. Look, 50,000 reviews. If you haven't played it, check it out. Yeah, it's insanely good. So this game, One Shot, made by Eminem. I'm kidding. It's like a pixel art puzzle adventure, and basically, yeah, it's one of these games where the story is very charming, the art is very cute, and the puzzles and the way that the gameplay happens, it basically breaks boundaries. Let's just put it that way. I can't really say anything more. It's just way better that you go and experience it yourself. But you're this cute little like cat person, whatever, and you've got this little light with you, and you carry it around, and you do stuff and things, and the game gets super fucking dank, real dank. All right. Now, y'all have probably heard of Outer Wilds and how no one talks about Outer Wilds because Outer Wilds is super dank. This game is equally dank. And no one talks about One Shot either. So I think y'all should play One Shot because it's very, very, very good. And when you finish the game, put it this way. This game is still installed on my PC. I haven't played it for 2 years, and I'm never going to uninstall it. The game is special. It's very special.
Interesting.
And I think that it's also not very long either. It's like, I think you could completionist run it in like under 10 hours. So check it out. One Shot.
Yeah, One Shot. With a name like that, it really feels like it's got some like kind of roguelike element to it or something.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe not.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
it does.
Who
Maybe
knows?
it doesn't. There is a console version of the game as well, by the way, for those who prefer console. But I haven't played the console version, but I would say, having played the PC version, I don't think you can get the same experience on the console version than you can on the PC. But if you don't have a PC to really game on or something, then like I'm sure it's pretty decent on console as well. But like the PC gameplay was something special. Yeah.
Is it the gameplay that's dank or the story? The way you're kind of explaining this makes me feel like it's like the experience.
So yeah, it's the experience.
Yeah.
So the story is good. I mean, the story is good. It's a story that, it's a good story. Like stuff happens, and the characters are cool, and the world is interesting, and there's twists and all that kind of stuff. You know, it keeps you on your toes. But there's the gameplay. Again, it's just so interesting because like the gameplay it's fairly straightforward in a way, but in another way, it's so dank that it's basically the journey is special. You should do it. You should. You're not selling it. You should play it. It's very good. I can't tell you more.
I love how you're like, I can't explain why this game is dope. Just trust me, bro.
Exactly how dank is it? It's like, it's really dank.
Oh, it's
Jay's trying to explain Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is easier to explain.
Really?
Than One Shot.
Oh yeah,
yes.
it kind of is. I guess there is a
one shot is more dank.
Yeah, I guess there's a hook in like Outer Wilds that's easy to like explain.
Yeah. Outer Wilds. Yeah, the premise of Outer Wilds, like when you play that game, like the story and what you need to do is interesting and kind of dank and hard to to figure out, but beautiful and all that kind of stuff. But largely, what you need to do it is it's nothing like impossible. It's nothing like super out there. But one shot's like gameplay, I suppose, or the medium of which it brings you through the game is very special, and it is objectively more dank than what Outer Wilds makes you do. The dankness, like the objective dankness, all right, the OD level is 11 out of 10, okay? You've gone from 0 dank to 500% dank in 5 minutes. Damn, that's rough.
Damn.
Feels dank, man.
That's way too dank. Can you
I didn't
get
know
too
Jace was
dank?
gonna... Yeah, maybe this game is too dank.
You know when you hear a word so many times that it loses meaning? I feel like that with dank right now.
Yeah, that happens.
Drink every time Jace says
scale,
dank.
Logarithmic or linear.
Yeah.
Look, the dank scale is it depends. That's what it is.
It
'cause it's dank,
depends.
right? Yeah.
My favorite type of scale. Fuck, I forgot to update the titles. Oh, no, you did. Oh, this is so nice, dude. Oh, this is so dope. This is the thing that I fucking hated and when we did the dev stream is like, if I'm not paying attention to like production all the time, I miss out on these things. And I just go over here.
Yeah, now you have a responsible adult actually taking care of it for you.
Oh, this is so dope. This is so dope. I'm so happy we did this. You just got to figure out this fucking delay that's happening in your stream.
Here, question. I genuinely don't know what you mean by dank. So what I mean by it's just out there. So like there are things in that game that it does, certain gameplay things that are done in such a way it's just really out there. It's out of the box. It's breaking boundaries. You don't really find these in many other games.
It's not what you expect.
It's not what you expect. And when it first makes you do something with the game, you're like, wait, you want me to do what? It's like that kind of thing. Yeah. It's not sus though.
I do like that stuff though.
Yeah. Have you not played One Shot?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you should play it. You should stream it maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is very good.
Those comments are dank. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's hang out with you guys a little bit. Chat on chat.
Chat action. Little
chat on chat action. Yeah. You guys eating all right? You doing all right?
Yeah, it's dank, not sauce. Yeah, you guys eating all right? I'm not. I didn't eat much today. Talos was just extremely dank. No, Talos is actually basic. Bank. Talos is basic in this sense, on this scale, right? Talos is a hard puzzle game, right? With fun puzzles, creative puzzles. I love Talos, right? 9.5 out of 10 game, right? But was Talos a dank puzzle game? No. Right? It's like lasers and blocks and shit. All right, everyone's played with lasers and blocks before.
Is Superliminal dank, would you say?
Yeah, Superliminal's a little dank.
Yeah, it's a little dank.
It's got a little dankness, yeah. Cheeky little dankness.
Superliminal is like, when you start playing, you're like, oh, I have to get into the mindset of this. But once you get into the mindset of it, you sort of kind of know what's coming.
Yeah. Have either you looked into blueprints or shows? I'm definitely interested in blueprints. And I haven't looked into it because I'm interested in it.
Oh, yeah. Everyone talks about it.
Yep.
It seems good.
You know what? I think it would be a funny game if we played it together.
Which one? Blueprints?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think it's really hard puzzle stuff.
It is.
And I think if you and I are batting our heads together to try and figure shit out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it actually could be funny.
Could be funny, yeah.
Yeah.
Will Jay's card be making an appearance on either of your games?
I think my game will only be purchasable via Jace card and Subway gift cards. They're the only two.
Heard it here first, folks.
Payment options, yeah.
Did they change how whenever I try and paste in comments now, it makes like line breaks and shit? Have they changed how copy and pasting works on Twitch? Are you also getting this? Maybe. When you're copy and pasting into the document, it just messes up it splits the order.
No.
All right, guess it's just skill issue on my end.
I'm copying from OBS though. I don't know. I'm not doing it from Twitch, so I don't know.
Oh, maybe I should do that. Yeah.
I can't play blueprints. I don't have a second screen currently. That's what I've heard of as well.
Wait, do you need a second screen for that game? No, you don't. Take your notes.
Yeah, exactly. or like a piece of paper, like a book or something.
Just get a book. I really enjoy whenever I play games and I get the opportunity to use books. I'm like, like actually write on paper. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Okay, relax. Hurts my hand when I do it. What's going on?
When you what?
Oh, double click on the cell and paste directly into the cell after that.
Yeah, I tried that too, but
it should work.
Yeah, now it works. But it still does this line break. You see this?
Yeah, that's weird. Well, it worked in the end. Just go for it.
I have to do like so many steps. You guys have no idea how many hoops I have to jump through for you guys.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Okay, so let's see here. Get a purchase Jace card, please. Yep, I'll let you guys know. You'll hear it here first when it comes out. I promise. And I can promise that because it's never happening.
Unless is this when we like reveal that this is just a pump and dump for our own cryptocurrency? That's why we made this fucking show.
Oh my god, Jesus!
It's the whole Don't
even joke about that.
Yeah.
Oh god,
is Portal classified as dank? Maybe the second one more so than the first one. It's got some dankness to it.
Look, at the time,
definitely. Yeah.
At the time, it was mega dank.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but like these days, it's pretty standard. I feel.
Yeah, when did that game come out?
Crony coin.
My dog is losing it right now.
Oh no! Oh no!
The Snaze coin.
Is it meme worthy? Is what? The coin? Absolutely not. Non-fudge cookies? Yo, I want fudge cookies though. That sounds good.
Is fudge cookies something else than?
Well, I'm talking about actual cookies with fudge in it.
What made you think that I wasn't?
I don't know. The tone of voice? Yeah, that's us tone of voice.
All right, okay. That's just my Swedish accent, dude.
I got scared. Yeah, and all of you are sus.
Jace's fight or flight just kicked in.
Yeah, it just kicked in. Yeah, sounds like a euphemism. Exactly. It wasn't just me.
When you're
I did get ice cream this week that had fudge in it.
Did you say, fudge when you had it?
No, I didn't, but there's always next time.
All right. I'll be here all week, by the way.
Yep. Any other questions, folks? Can be related to game stuff. Can be anything. Anything
Could be what Jace's having for dinner.
Dude.
Fudge.
Dude. By the way, I'm streaming after this, folks. So, because this is one of the tests that we wanted to do. We wanted our thing to be set up in a way that Snoot could like stream into State of Dev, or I could stream out of State of Dev. And so it's sort of a tech test where I'm going to stream a little bit of a game after this. So be sure to stick around, folks, if you want to check that out after stream. But what that also means is, when am I eating exactly?
You're not. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I'll eat tomorrow, I guess.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah,
do you ever? I do this all the time. I get so into working and I forget to eat.
Yep.
It's really annoying because I really feel it.
Yeah, it's hard to sleep in that case.
Yeah.
Then I go and have like toast or something.
Here's an important chat message right here. Okay. How's that Rash doing?
My Rash? Yeah. Rash is currently also doing a collab live stream. Yeah, with my athlete foot. They're doing one together right now.
Yeah.
They're live. They're over on they stream on YouTube. So they're doing pretty good. Yeah. What am I planning on playing? Gonna play the Tanuki game. The Tanuki Pawn, Summer Pawn, something. Maybe I should have actually recommended that game since I was gonna play. Well, I haven't played it yet, so it's hard to recommend it. But it's like you play as this, like, it's a demo. You play as this Tanuki, which is like a Japanese raccoon, and you have a fucking bike for some reason. You can do like backflips and BMX tricks and grind. I don't know why, but also I think you're a postman and you deliver stuff, and I think you can build stuff as well. I don't really know what's gonna happen, but it looks good. So,
gonna find out if it's dank or not.
Yep.
If it rates on the dank scale.
Yep. Played Grounded 2 / will you? I will not play Grounded 2. What about you, Snutt?
Probably not me neither. Yeah.
No?
It looks cool though, but I don't know what it was with the first game that never got me interested, and I feel the same way with this. Every time I see people play it, I'm just like, that's cool, but I don't know. Might be because I don't have any friends. Maybe that's why. I just need friends to play with or something.
Oh boy.
So Silverine Games asked though, how are you motivated to do level design without giving up? I make a level, it looks like shit, and I give up and repeat.
Yeah, that's a mood. Actually. So yeah, I'm at the point where it's just blocking shit out, right? And so I just sit down and I just block stuff out, and I don't think critically about anything anymore. That's it. That's my secret, is that I sit down, I know I've got like 4 or 5 levels to start blocking out. I just do it and I check that shit in. And I don't care anymore. That's the way I do it. Now, is that good for the game? Really? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to have to think it through properly and make some tweaks here and there. But it is all about, for me at this point, given it's something that I'm so inexperienced with and something that I'm just like not that good at, it's just so important that I just get that shit down, because I need a stage for my game to exist on. I need a platform for it to exist on, for cutscenes to play, whatever, right? I can move things around later. So right now it's just more about, can I just block everything out and get that in? If so, that's big for me. And later, as I lock down art direction a little more, which is a whole other beast, then I can like return to like seeing what does and doesn't make sense. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that I can learn from a blocked out level to say if it makes sense or not. Like, are there parts of a level that I'm never walking to? Does it take too long to get from A to B? And things like that. And I can learn those things as I play test my game. I don't have to think of it all up front, which I probably would be able to do if I had more experience, but I don't have that experience. So I have to learn the hard way instead.
The best way to learn.
Yep.
The frustrating way to learn. Yeah, I always find that level design is a little bit depending on what type of game you're making, because some games level design comes for free, at least whenever I've done it, and some games it's a fucking struggle. But I haven't dabbled too much with level design. But whenever I've had the chance, I always really enjoy myself doing it.
Interesting.
I'm trying to find a talk from, I think it was GDC, but maybe not. There's a really inspiring talk by a level designer from one of those like big studios, like like Uncharted. Sharded. Like one of those big studios like Naughty Dog, or that has like very single player focused level design, and it has this like amazing talk of like how he approaches level design from like a story, or like from a not a story but from like a narrative point of view, in terms of like a level is a story that you're telling, right? Like you're going from A to B, at least in I'm talking about these type of games, right, where like shooters or whatever. But like a level is like you're going from A to B, and through that whole journey you tell a little story. Like you have your ups and downs, you have your your boundaries that are blocked away, you have your hope. You might see something in the distance, you're like, oh, I want to go over there, but I can't because I'm blocked off by this thing. I have to figure out a way around. Or, as you're progressing, something might happen that you didn't realize was going to happen. And he made this like really cool, tiny blocked out level where he's like telling, talking about this, where you can block out levels and still tell a story. And if you can tell a story in the block out, you know that when you decorate it, you'll have a great level, and you don't have to go for it.
And so when they say story in this case, they're not necessarily like a literal narrative, but in a way, it's a kind of narrative where, like they're leading your mind from one step to the next, right? Like they're saying, you're going to feel this here, you're going to feel this challenge here, this relief here, and it's that sort of like sequential thing. And if you could do that with no skin on it, so to speak, then
exactly.
it's like solid, I guess.
Because in his talk, the story in this level that he made for the talk is like, you want to go to this lighthouse. You see this, you start the level and you see a lighthouse in the distance. And the lighthouse is like an interesting element. You have a little bit of composition where like your eyes are led towards the lighthouse, but you're blocked off. You can't reach it. And there's like this very like dangerous cliff that you also can see that leads to the lighthouse. So it also makes you like curious, like how can I get there? But you're also given like an easy in the first step. You're just like, oh, but I just go through this door, and that will probably lead me down the chain of things. So yeah, in this level that he made, there's so many like events or like feelings that you get as you're progressing through the level. So it's like first you get a bit of hope when you look at the lighthouse, then you go start like going down and like start getting into this like nitty-gritty part of the level where you don't know if you're gonna make it. There's a part of it that breaks, I think, if I remember correctly. There's like a thing where you try and open a door but you can't, it breaks, and that gives you this like, oh, I thought I was gonna
that's
get
sinking,
there. Yeah, that sinking feeling.
There, yeah.
But then you're sort of like it's like a problem they had to overcome. And I thought it was a really interesting approach to it, where it's not just about like, where is it fun to run? Because every time when we think about anything with games, it's always like, it has to be fun. Just find the fun. But there's so many more layers to it than just like, it has to be fun, because you can play a fun game, but you don't feel anything and you don't really attach anything in the game, and you don't really remember the game other than just like, it was a fun game. Like, but the games that really stick with me, at least, are the games that have something that you don't expect, or something that has like a nice gradient of emotions or movements, or events happening or whatever. So it's just really interesting to try and like incorporate other elements that you weren't necessarily thinking about when you're doing certain things. And that can go into any element of game development. It doesn't just have to be level design. It can be with art as well, or to a certain degree programming or design as well. Like there's a certain level of expectation that you can sort of apply in other fields, maybe, that might not make sense on the surface level, but might be applicable. So I just thought that I wish I could find a link to that talk, because it's really good. But I'll link it on the Reddit if I find it.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually. Yeah. By the way, the Reddit, folks, is right here, folks. Go join it. Post there, suggestions, news, thoughts, whatever. That would be good. An emotional game is a type of fun too. Absolutely. And those are the ones that I personally like the most. Games that sting or make you feel really good.
Yep.
That's what I love. Okay. Should we start wrapping up?
Is it that time already? Jesus Christ, time just flies.
Yeah. It really does. Yeah, I had a good time. I hope you all had a good time today. Would love to hear your feedback on today's stream.
Apart from that Jace was out of sync, we know that.
We know that part. We're gonna look into it. Feel free to leave it if you're watching on YouTube. Hello, leave it in the comment below. But also, you could also go to our Reddit, reddit.com/r/stateofdev, and let us know there. That could be cool too. Is there anything else to say?
We'll be back again next week.
Yeah, I'll be back again next week. We'll see how it goes. And we might do our little improv thing to say goodbye again.
All right.
Where we say the different words. Take turns saying a word. But you know what we're thinking? You guys can give us, let's take 3 words that we have to incorporate into this from you guys. So you guys suggest some words, and then we'll...
Just random words.
Random words.
Yep. Clap. That's a pretty good one.
All right.
Dank. All right.
Dank, potato, mango.
Crikey, Jace card.
Okay, we've got... Which ones do we want to take?
We have to take dank, that's for sure.
Okay.
I like clap, because clap can mean different things. Like, I like those type of words where they're just not one thing. They can mean a lot of different things.
All right. But then we need something specific. Like, I think like a food is good. Yeah. Like pickle, mango, or potato could be good.
Aluminum. Clap was the emote though. I don't care. I'm taking it.
All right. Let's take. I'm thinking mango.
Mango's pretty good.
Clap, mango, and dank. Cool?
All right. So we need to incorporate those 3 words. Either of us have to incorporate those 3 words.
Yep. Clap,
in
mango,
the improv thing.
dank.
All right. Who starts?
This is our sign off, by the way, folks.
Yep.
Okay. All right. On
My
television
there
was
a
juicy
mango
and
it
didn't
have
a lot
of
color
because
my
mom
turned
the
TV
off.
This is really hard. I can't get anywhere. I'm trying to find these words, man. All right, turn TV off. I
Then
got
really
dank.
it came out of nowhere. Wait. Dank. Therefore
My
rash
flared
up
to
a
truly
disgusting
state.
and
Everybody,
turned
I really wanted you to say clapped.
Turned. Oh yeah. But it would have been it would have been claps.
Everybody turned.
And
Is that what okay. Said.
oh, I thought you were gonna.
Oh, and clapped.
We could've saved
fucking
it, dude.
suck. We fucking suck.
What was the word you used? What was the last word?
What?
What was the last word you said?
This.
Turned and this
Yep.
meant
Please
don't
let
him
clap. I was just trying to say, please let me out. Yeah, end stream, just end stream. Absolutely.
Just cut it.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see each other next week again. Bye.
Yeah. Catch you later. Bye, everyone.
Have a good
Bye.